Darian, yay or nay on Chapel Roan?
I have no idea who that is. Should I be
exactly? No, it's okay to be 40 and out of touch. It doesn't matter. It's okay.
Oh, I feel bad.
You can't know everything.
So give Darian the story. I don't even really know the story. Didn't she mentioned Saskatchewan in one of her songs? And of course, we're just going bonkers up here because someone's paying attention to us. Is that what the story is?
Pretty much. And then I think Scott Moe even said, like, yeah, we'd love to have you sometime. And she's probably like, yeah, talk to my agent at Live Nation if you can guarantee me, 7 figures for a night at the Brand Center. I'll come up. Right, Darian? Hey, it's show business. It's not show friends, right?
We got an open Wednesday at Casino Regina in February. What are you doing?
Bring me up. I'm ready.
Yeah, the actual line in the song is, I'm moving to Saskatchewan. So really hype. Not a lot of people want to move to Saskatchewan.
Sweet.
Oh, geez. We could go on and on and on about this, but let's get into football since we have Darian Durant here. 8-1, Darian. The start of the season, I don't think no one in this room or on the screen thought the Riders would be 8-1 realistically.
Not at all. I mean, and if you were to say that and say that Emulus would only play a handful of games, no Sean Bain, a beat up wide receiver core and some injuries up front, you would definitely put the Riders in the second half of, the second part of the bottom of the West. So, just kudos to this coaching staff, man. This team just looks like they'll do any and everything. They're together. There's no moment too big so far this season, and you can just tell that they're a together football team right now.
But there's one guy on the screen. It's not Barney, and it's definitely not me, that said the Riders this year need to run up the score and then let the defense sort it out. And Darian, you've called it to a T. The only thing we don't have is that receiver. That could be Dante Myers that takes the top off the defense. But you said run up the score early and the defense sorted out. And once again, we see another game where once they got to Bo Levi, Hamilton had no answer, and we were able to at will do what we wanted.
Yeah, I think what hurt Hamilton was when they got the early turnover and they got their hands on the ball, from Trevor, which is not going to happen much. They didn't capitalize. They only got 2 field goals early. And then, once that gave Saskatchewan an opportunity to go down and score a touchdown and put some pressure on this Hamilton team, because Hamilton started off running the ball well. They went under center, did some things that were just non-traditional when it comes to offense. And, you thought that they found some weakness in the Rider defense, but the Rider defense just stood tall in the goal line areas and didn't allow Hamilton to score touchdowns. And that was a really, really huge part of that first half.
I asked Schultze this in hour 1. How much of that success they had, though, early, Darian, was just the script that was implemented?
Yeah, I think so. You could even see with some of those blitzes that they were able to get home to Trevor with once they tried those later on. And Coach Mueller saw what they were trying to do. He was ready for it. So I think they were just too much on script. You draw up these plays before the game. You say that these things will work. And if you just keep going to them over and over and over, you can't do that. You just have to sprinkle them in here and there. And they didn't do a good job of that.
Maybe I'm crazy. I was surprised that when Hamilton did have this success early in the first 3-4 minutes of the game, Maz and I talked about this at the start, is they got down to the 2.5 yard line. They took the points. I get it. You always take the points when you can. You're in hostile territory against the best team in the league. Let's see what we're made of. Let's go. Was that respect to the Riders' defense as a whole, or was that just them sticking too much to the game plan and taking the points?
Yeah, I think that's just the nervousness of that coaching staff just saying, you know what, we have to take these points. We're down here. You may not get down here much. So sometimes when you only have 20 seconds to make a decision, you panic. And the way they were running the ball, you would think for sure that they, go for it down there. So, sometimes the coaches get in panic mode and get in situations where they don't really make the best decisions either. And I think Hamilton didn't make a good decision there.
Hamilton, once they got pressure, Hamilton looked out of sync like they did in weeks 1 and 2. They didn't look like the team that won 6 of 7 games. Keep in mind, I'm sure they'll rebound. They're going to correct those mistakes. Bo Levi. Darian, were you surprised when things were getting bad? Because Hamilton loves to not run the football. How much they still tried to run the football, even though they were down, for a team that doesn't seem to want to do that?
I think, Coach Milanovic knows that whenever you put yourself in a predictable passing situation, you've seen what this Rider D-line can do when they know that the offense is passing the ball and they can just pin their ears back and get after the quarterback. You've seen, 6 and 7 sack games from this defense. So Coach Milanovic was just trying to protect Bo Levi and making sure that he didn't just make him a sitting duck back there. So was I surprised? No, because you still have to have some sort of threat. But at the same time, when you're down, you have to find a way to push the ball downfield, and running the ball is not going to do that.
What did you see? Did you see anything offensively in this game that was different? I liked they all of a sudden throwing AJ out at wide receiver, right? Flanking him out. That's old Belichick used to do that in the Patriots. It's like, why the heck did they have LeGarrette Blount going out to play wide receiver? Did you see anything offensively?
Well, I think sometimes you have to throw different looks out there just to get some things on film, so defenses have to prepare for them. And if you get a defense that just is slacking and not really paying attention to formations, then you can take advantage of it. But I love to see the double move to Dante Myers. I love to see them taking advantage of the aggressive DBs. Like I said, we saw in the first half, Hamilton's DBs were just jumping everything, and they were just super aggressive. So, to counter that, you have to be ready for the double move. So good job by Coach Mueller and Trevor of drawing that up and being ready. And, this offense is just steady, man. I mean, A.J. Ouellette had 18 carries. Everyone's touching the ball. There's no one guy you can key in on. And then, like I said, with Emulus and Sean Bain out and Schaefer Baker as well, for this receiving core to just continue to produce at such a high level with some backups in, it just speaks well to the scouting and J.O. and how he's brought some good talent in.
All right, the obvious question, because it's funny, our champagne problems. We're 8-1, we're blowing out teams, but our kicker misses from 30-something on a crazy windy day, and what do you do? Is he staying? Is he going? Rider Nation, we got nothing else to focus on other than that. Where do you fall in on all this?
Look, he's such a huge part of the team. I mean, guys struggle sometimes. They have bad games. And I know that, when you're a kicker, you get your one play of fame, every couple of possessions, and then the spotlight's on you. And yes, he's missed some gimmies, I feel like, and he knows that there are some easy ones he's missed, but I still have 100% confidence in Brett. I think that he's a great guy. He's clutch. He's proven that he's clutch. And I wouldn't think about making a change until you get into a game that is where it's needed, and then something doesn't go his way. That's the only time I think you should. But right now, you just stick with him and you show him that you have the confidence in him.
We have a question on the Prairie Line Rentals text line. There's one from Steve and one from Ty asking Darian, his opinion on if the Riders can survive basically with Lawther. So you're sticking with them until, like Schultz said, 2 more weeks. You're riding until there's a pressure situation, and then maybe wouldn't that be a little late or hard to bring someone in there?
I don't think so, because you would just kill yourself if you got rid of them too early. You get in a Western final or something like that, game-winning field goal, and the kicker misses. Then you'll be wishing that you had him. And I guess that it'll go the other way if he misses the field goal in the West Finals as well. It's just such a tough spot. But, I mean, you have to go with a guy who's been in pressure situation. He understands the wind. He understands what it's like in the West, the key games. I just don't think you bring someone in and put him in such a pressure-packed situation when he's not used to it.
And it's the passport thing too, Maz, right?
Yeah, there is that. I mean, if you've got a Canadian kicker, ultimately, if you want to keep that spot Canadian, you got to replace him. Although other teams have done it. Look at Justin Medlock when he played with the Bombers. He was one of the last of a rare breed to be a punter and a place kicker, and he was great at both. Like, he was such a gem. But I would say Winnipeg and Montreal have the 2 best place kickers in the league, without a doubt, because they can hit from range. They're hitting. Darian, let's go back to some of those games last week. one of the things that I had mentioned on the show is that Winnipeg and BC, they're kind of learning how to win with adversity. Stuff isn't always going their way. Where the Riders have kind of, the games haven't been close. They haven't been tested at times. BC and Winnipeg have both had to struggle to win, including last week. You give up a 117-yard field goal that could put the wind out of your sails. You give up that interception, but yet you still come back and win. Even BC, they're finding a way. You know that you have to learn how to win, right? That's all part of it, because when times get tough, you're going to have to lean on those experiences, correct?
Yeah, and I think that's what this upcoming 3-game stretch is going to be about. It's going to be about adversity and tough times. You're not going to blow out these two teams next 3 games. There's going to be some tough situation. There's going to be some adverse situations that you haven't experienced as a group this season. And, but the beauty of it is the Riders have given themselves such a good cushion leading up into the stretch that, you can drop a game or two in this situation and still be sitting pretty. So that's what it's about during the summer and early in the season. It's about racking up as many wins as you can in order to position yourself and put yourself in a good position as you go into these Labor Day and after games, because they're all going to mean so much. The weather's going to change, and like I said, a lot of your easier games are out of the way. It's a lot of Western teams coming up. So this is going to be a tough stretch for the Riders.
Darian, do you think, after watching the film, Dave Dickinson, Vernon Adams, I'm assuming Calgary's game plan is going to be move him around the pocket, get him on the move. He's not going to be a sitting duck like Bo Levi on Saturday.
Yeah, not at all. You'll never see that from VA and Coach Dickinson. You saw that when Calgary came to Mosaic a few weeks ago. Him throwing a couple touchdowns, deep balls on the run. They're going to use his athletic ability. They're going to use his ability to break down the coverage with his legs, and that's part of VA's game. So 2 totally different style quarterbacks that they're going to see in back-to-back weeks, and it's going to call for a totally different game plan.
Chris Streveler, the follow-up weeks, possibly the way things are going. The only thing, though, with that, I forget how weird that game was. That Calgary, that was the smoke game where they had to play the next day. And I get that we were here, there were so many variables in that game that made it weird. Do you think Calgary throws like a total new game plan? Like they haven't seen, is it going to be screens? Like you said, they're going to make him move, maybe make him use his legs a little bit more. Or are they going to stay true and say, if we're as good as we think we are, let's beat him with what we do?
I think you'll see a little bit of both. I think for the most part, at a halfway point of the season, most teams are what they are, and they're going to throw in a wrinkle or two here and there to kind of mix things up. But I mean, defensively, especially, Calgary's going to be who they are with Barron Miles, and offensively, I think they're going to try to take advantage of some of the things that the Riders secondary may be soft in coverage with. So it's just going to be 2 battle of the bullies, and the biggest bully is going to come out on top.
Back in your playing days, did you love going to Calgary because you knew Rider Nation represented so well? Was it kind of like a home game just because of the craziness of the crowd?
I mean, you love that atmosphere for sure, but of course, you'd rather play them at Mosaic Stadium when when it's about 95% green. But the atmosphere in Calgary is just always amazing, especially now that these teams are fighting for first and second position in the West. There's a lot more at stake, so the fans are even going to be more revved up for this. Whenever you're sitting at the top of the conference and you're 2 good football teams, it's what makes this rivalry even more special.
Rodney in Regina on the Prairie Line Rentals text line for doubles, he says, as not many teams go through the entire season with 1 loss, what would you say to the team when they do go through a downturn this season? How did the 2013 Riders handle the slump you were in?
Yeah, I mean, it's going to come at some point. I mean, look, the odds are against you as far as going through the season with 1 or 2 losses. It just doesn't happen much. But you just have to, like I said, you start the season off, you win as many games as you can, you put yourself in a good position because when Labor Day comes, a little bit after Labor Day, you're going to drop a game or two. And in our case, I think we dropped 5 in a row at some point after starting off the season hot. So, it's just, you just have to stay focused. You have to realize that these are teams you've beat before, and you can play well against these teams. But, this is just so much more at stake because I think the Riders are in the driver's seat for a Western Final game at Mosaic Stadium. So if they can get this game and put some separation in between themselves and Calgary, now you can afford to drop a game or two down the road, which we know is going to happen.
One more, Maz, here from the Prairie Land Rentals text line. Stephen Regina again says, what are the weak spots you see in the Calgary defense? How would you attack those?
I think you have to be able to run the ball. Most teams haven't had a lot of success against Calgary running the ball. And I think the first game against the Riders, Calgary loaded up that box and made it tough on A.J. Ouellette. Ouellette can definitely open up the passing game for Trevor, put him in second and medium, second and short situations. So, as the weather changes, it's going to get colder. It's going to be windy. You have to be able to run the ball. And the Riders have done a pretty good job so far. But here's the first big game of the season the second besides the first Calgary game. This is the second big game of the season. And let's see if they can run the ball to take some of that pressure off of Trevor.
The West Division won this week. You had Edmonton winning. You had BC winning. You had Winnipeg winning. And that's what I kind of expect. Right now, BC is in second place in the crossover because they've got like 5 wins. And it could end up that way. Teams are starting to get a little better. And I don't know if they're catching up to the Riders, but teams are starting to move along. They're starting to win. And as to your point, it is getting a little bit higher. One of the things I've liked is Dominic Rhymes and his game with the Stamps this year and how he's become sort of like the go-to guy for Vernon Adams, who you still think, although Trevor is having a great season, is Vernon Adams still your MOP choice if you had to choose and get a vote right now?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't penalize him for, and I know you're supposed to, but, I wouldn't penalize him for missing games. I think you can see, and that even makes my point stronger, that without him in the lineup, it's just a totally different team. And then when he's in the lineup, they've won every game except the monsoon, the rainy game against Ottawa at home. So I still think he's right there at the top now. Trevor's playing some great football. He's lighting up the stat sheet, and he's doing everything he needs to do for this team to win, no doubt about it. He definitely being second for me. But I just think that what Vernon Adams has done in Calgary, to be their first-year quarterback and to have this team and to change the culture of this team like he has, that's just why I would give him the nod at the moment.
What's your take on the little dust-up on the sideline when Mace takes out Trevor Harris after he gets hit by a 18-wheeler?
That's just the competitiveness of Trevor, man. Doesn't want to come out the game. Even though it's late, all you're going to do is hand the ball off. But I just think he was just fired up. His competitiveness, when that adrenaline's pumping like that, he wants to stay in the game. But you could see him calm down pretty quickly after that. I think he realized that he took a big hit. And, you better be ready for Calgary. Anything can happen, late in the game. I think it was BC game last year. The game was out of hand, and he took a crazy hit and was banged up a little bit. So, look, these next 3 games, and especially next week, is very crucial. Trevor needs to be thankful that coach took him out the game because, anything can happen. Guys could roll up and fall at your legs. You just never know, man. Yeah. So you have to be smart.
Can we get you to say it again on tape? Because you said it last Monday when Charleston was on, and I used it throughout the week in different scenarios. In the West Division, records don't matter. Anybody can beat anybody, so stop looking at the records.
Yeah, do not look at the records. Let's have this conversation in about 3 weeks when we go Calgary, Winnipeg. Then we can, see how we stack up against. I still feel like Winnipeg's one of the teams to beat in the West. I mean, they've been to the past handful of Grey Cups, and you have to go on the road, and you have to play them twice. So I just hold off. We put ourselves in a great position as far as, positioning for home field advantage in the playoffs. But let's just wait until these next 3 weeks to really, really see where we are as a team.
All right, Doubles. Which one of your former teammates would say this line? Desperation is a stinky cologne.
Wow. I would have to go with John Chick or somebody like that.
It was Schultz. It was Schultze earlier. Yeah.
Well, you know how they were. That's how they were when they played. So, man, I could see it coming from either one. Oh my God.
Yeah. Okay. Have a good week. Chat with you next Monday.
Oh yeah.
Right,
By the way, I tuned in to catch the replay of the Baltimore-Dallas game from the weekend. Darian, I just want to let you know I didn't watch more than 30 seconds. I just kept flipping because I'm like, this is not good.
It's gonna be a long season in Dallas. Long season.
See you, Doubles.